conditions as a winter storm continues to sweep through Ohio,
Plus, how to keep your sidewalks safe once the storm is over.
and massive travel delays due to the weather between Texas and Maine. Newswatch starts right now.
Good evening. I'm Sarah Donaldson.
And I'm Nick Veland. Welcome to Newswatch, your source for news impacting southeastern Ohio. As inclement weather comes into our area, our team coverage of winter storm begins with Cam Kuzno on College Green of the Athens, Ohio University campus.
Thank you very much, Nick. I'm out here on College Green and we can feel the temperature decreasing quickly. It's very rainy and there's a lot of water on the ground, and a lot of that is going to freeze here into the night as the temperature gets below freezing. Let's have a look at the current weather conditions. Right now in Athens, it's 29 degrees and there's a wintry mix that's affecting us right now. This wintry mix has been freezing rain for most of the late afternoon and will transition to sleet later tonight. Sunset tonight was at 5:51, and across the region we're going to see this winter storm persist. So much to the point where the National Weather Service has issued a ice storm warning for the area. This ice storm warning will expire at 7 a.m. and they have also issued a flood warning for the area. This flood warning is responsible for closing Interstate 78 as well as, is responsible for closing Interstate 78, and make sure you practice your safety and turn around, don't drown. Most flood deaths happen in water. Snow accumulation for the area will look to be under 2 inches for most of the area, except for the northern part of our viewing area, where we could see potentially 3 to 4 inches. And ice accumulations are expected to get up to 3/4 of an inch in Athens and around 1/2 an inch in surrounding areas. This is a very large amount of ice, and Henry is going to talk about how to keep us safe.
Thank you, Cam. So we're going to be looking at ice accumulation overnight. For most of the day, we started off with mostly rain as the cold air started to move through. But as we head into the overnight hours, we're going to start seeing more cold air at the surface. This is where we'll have rain above us, but as it hits the ground, it'll start to freeze. And then overnight, we're going to start to transition to more sleet. And then by Friday morning, we should be over to snow. Why freezing rain is dangerous is because, as you can take a look at this image, an image that I took earlier today is rain on the trees, and as we get to around 32 degrees, the rain will start to freeze on the surface, and as more rain starts to fall, it will start to accumulate more and more on the branches to the point that they could break if there's too much weight. And heading into tomorrow, if we have power outages, to make sure to keep your generators outside and to be ready for cold weather this weekend. I'm going to be handing it back over to Sarah.
Thanks, Henry. Around 1,700 plow trucks and 3,300 drivers are working on clearing state roads during the height of this week's storm. This is less than normal, reports State House correspondent Joe Engels, because of a shortage of drivers. Ohio Department of Transportation spokesman Matt Brunning says they hire around 500 seasonal positions each year. Only about 75% of those positions were filled this year. Brunning also notes that ODOT's drivers are trained properly and up to the challenge. But due to the labor shortage, employees from other capacities at ODOT are helping out to maximize the number of plows on the road. Brunning says, quote, "Certainly it has been more of a challenge in our urban areas than elsewhere," end quote. Even with ODOT crews preparing to clear the roads ahead of tonight's storm, streets aren't the only concern for people trying to get around in the winter.
The city of Athens is 1 month and more than a dozen inches of snow into 2022. Inclement weather events make a mess for drivers in the hours that follow. But for Athenians braving the cold by foot, untouched sidewalks can create a precarious situation if the temperatures stay frigid.
Imagine somebody that stepped out into traffic to avoid walking through an icy sidewalk, doesn't see a vehicle coming because they're stepping around vehicles that might be parked in the parking lane.
Athens city ordinance requires residents and business owners to clear snow and ice from their walkway within 4 hours of daylight. And for renters, Chicky says not all landlords will handle snow removal.
I think there's a lot of assumptions that are made between landlords and tenants, and from the city's perspective, those agreements are between those private entities.
With some clear and some not, wintry sidewalks are an accessibility issue for residents with mobility issues.
Inclement weather is one of those things that really points out how a lot of us don't need to be aware of or thinking about different accessibility features.
Bush says when shoveling or salting, don't forget about ramps or other cuts in the curb.
Just being aware that how you clear snow matters, and sometimes what you're doing can actually make accessibility worse for individuals with disabilities.
Not everybody can step around an icy condition. Not everyone can move as freely.
Chicky says the city just wants to see residents and business owners comply with city ordinance, not for them to be hit with citations and fines. He recommends keeping equipment to clear snow and ice on hand through the winter season and giving extra time in the morning following a winter storm.
Part of clearing snow and ice is being a good neighbor to people.
Chicky says that the city offers a period of education annually about how to handle snow and ice as well.
And now an update on the upcoming election season. Democratic Rick Wasserman is running for this county auditor position. Since 2018, Wasserman has served as the current Athens County Treasurer. He also assisted in creating the Athens County Land Bank, which purchases and repurposes abandoned properties throughout the county. This is Wasserman's second time running for the position after losing to Republican Jill Thompson in 2002 when he only received 37% of the votes. Once again, Wasserman will be running against incumbent candidate Thompson. Wasserman's campaign announced and promised transparency and fairness in the auditor's office. There are 13 major party candidates running for the open U.S. Senate seat. Yesterday, the state closed candidate entries for 2022. Republican Governor Mike DeWine has 3 primary challengers, while Republican Secretary of State Frank LaRose drew 2 primary challengers. 3 Republican statewide office holders are running unopposed. Attorney General Dave Yost, Treasurer Robert Sprague, and Auditor Keith Faber. 2 Ohio Supreme Court justices also face no competition. Democrats are running unchallenged in all races except governor and the U.S. Senate. Ohio lawmakers have little over a week to redraw congressional district maps after the previous plan was ruled unconstitutional. Fair Districts Ohio released a new proposed map today that they say is both fair and competitive. In a press release, the group announced it would create 8 Republican and 7 Democratic districts. 4 of those Democratic districts would be fairly competitive with a toss-up district in Toledo. Catherine Trusser with Fair Districts Ohio says their goal is to provide an example to lawmakers to promote fair maps.
We want very clearly to provide a model map in a transparent way so that we can show the map makers that this is a way they can actually do it.
COVID cases are trending downwards, but doctors say there is still plenty of reason for caution. And later, how the storm is impacting travel nationally. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
On American Experience.
Jeans are the quintessential American garment.
They are universal and individual at the same time. But it's always the same story.
It's about the cowboys in the West. It's about Levi Strauss and the gold rush.
And yet so much of the story we tell about jeans is a myth.
Riveted, the history of jeans on American Experience. Nova goes where few dare.
Just imagine the size of the bum that this dropped out of.
Finding facts in feces, data in dung.
That's taking a poo.
From blue whales.
I was in a floating pile of whale poop.
To preventing poaching and poo cubes.
How would a square come out of a round hole?
A rare science adventure.
This is where the science happens.
Secrets in the Scat on Nova.
Next time on Unforgivable Blackness. Jack Johnson stands atop the boxing world, But his world is about to come crashing down.
Certain unfair persons decided if they could not get me one way, they would another.
Don't miss the conclusion of Unforgivable Blackness, the rise and fall of Jack Johnson.
The tournament is just around the corner and the window of opportunity to win the TVC is closing quickly. It's championship week for the girls as the Vinton County Vikings battle Alexander for the top spot in the TVC Ohio. And in the Hawking, we saw two state-ranked teams battle it out for first place. Plus, things are getting rowdy beyond the court as we take an inside look at the Meg student section. Catch all the action on Hardwood Heroes Sunday nights at 11 and Monday nights at 6, only on WOUB.
The U.S. is now averaging more than 385,000 new COVID-19 cases daily. According to Johns Hopkins University, a drop of 37% since last week. Jen Sullivan takes a look at why federal health officials are not ready to ease restrictions despite the optimistic numbers.
Growing signs that the U.S. could be ready to ease COVID-19 restrictions and start moving back toward normal.
I can't tell you exactly when, but there are more and more positive indicators each day that tell us we are making progress to that final goal.
The average number of new daily cases is down 37% since last week and is trending down in all but one state, Alabama. And as the Omicron variant appears to be receding, some health experts are asking whether it's time to roll back some COVID-19 restrictions and end mask mandates. On Wednesday, the White House declined to say when the administration would offer a clear plan to transition out of the pandemic, with the CDC director saying she's cautiously optimistic.
We really do have to look to our hospitalization rates and our death rates to look to when is time to lift some of these mitigation efforts. We will continue to reevaluate, and we know people are anxious.
However, CDC data shows the average daily number of COVID-19 deaths is up 6% from a week ago. And while hospitalizations are down 15%, health experts say the rates are still high and could threaten capacity at some hospitals across the country.
This is a virus that's still adapting to people, and people need to adapt to the virus.
And as a new report finds, unvaccinated people are 97 times more likely to die of COVID than those with a booster dose. Health officials reiterate the best protection against coronavirus is vaccinations.
Data are really stunningly obvious why a booster is really very important.
For today's Health Minute, I'm Jen Sullivan.
Cases have also been declining around Ohio. Athens County dipped below 2,000 active cases today, and statewide, it was the 6th straight day total COVID cases have been under 10,000.
2 people have died due to a listeria outbreak linked to Dole packaged salads. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says the outbreak has also sickened 17 people and resulted in 13 hospitalizations across 13 states. A recall began at the end of December. It affects products with best if used by dates from November 30th, 2021 through January 9th, 2022. While the recalled products are all produced by Dole, they were sold under several different brands. The CDC says you should throw away or return the products and also clean out refrigerators or other surfaces that came into contact with the products. The agency is also investigating a separate listeria outbreak tied to Fresh Express packaged salads.
And Winter Storm Landon is continuing to make its way through our area. Our weather team will have more of a rundown on the storm and how to keep yourself safe during it, and my full forecast after the break. But for now, let's have a look at some stocks of local interest.
The tournament is just around the corner and the window of opportunity to win the TVC is closing quickly. It's championship week for the girls as the Vinton County Vikings battle Alexander for the top spot in the TVC Ohio. And in the Hawking, we saw 2 state-ranked teams battle it out for first place. Plus, things are getting rowdy beyond the court as we take an inside look at the Meg student section. Catch all the action on Hardwood Heroes Sunday nights at 11 and Monday nights at 6, only on WOUB.
American Masters celebrates the life and legacy of singer Marian Anderson. Her career was propelled by talent, but limited by discrimination.
She didn't have to say, no, this is not right. Her voice said that.
See how her voice changed the world. Discover Marian Anderson on American Masters.
An American experience. Jeans are the quintessential American garment.
They are universal and individual at the same time. But it's always the same story.
It's about the cowboys in the West. It's about Levi Strauss and the gold rush.
And yet so much of the story we tell about jeans is a myth.
Riveted, the history of jeans on American Experience.
Nova goes where few dare.
Just imagine the size of the bum that this dropped out of.
Finding facts in feces, data in dung.
That's taking a poo.
From blue whales.
I was in a floating pile of whale poop.
To preventing poaching and poo cubes.
How would a square come out of a round hole?
A rare science adventure.
This is where the science happens.
Secrets in the Scat on Nova.
Hi there, I'm here from Ohio University's College Green right now, and we are being pattered with rain. If you'll take a look at our visible satellite image, you'll see a huge blanket of white over our area. This is Winter Storm Landon, currently at its strongest and in progress. The surface analysis will show a strong low pressure system that's pushing a cold front through our area and bringing all of this rain and ice. And I mentioned earlier that right now we are under both an ice storm warning and a flood warning, so make sure you're following proper safety precautions and not driving through any floodwaters, or tomorrow when everything's frozen, not driving in general. Snow accumulations will be only really high towards the north of our viewing area and will be around 2 inches towards the majority. Ice accumulations, however, will be different. We could see up to a three quarters of an inch of ice possible in the Athens area, with around a ½ inch possible everywhere else. But tonight, we will see temperatures decreasing really slowly as this system continues. The low for tonight is 21 degrees, and that will happen at around 8 o'clock this morning as the wintry mix will continue through the area. Winds will be north at between 10 and 15 miles per hour. And across the area, we will see more of the same with this winter storm progressing. Tomorrow morning, as we continue into the morning, 21 degrees at 8 a.m. We will see the sleet that begins to form tonight turn to ice at around 10 and snow around noon, when we will see 24 degrees. Our high temperature is 24 degrees, which will be around that time, as the wintry mix will continue and dissipate into the evening. Sunrise will be at 7:32 and winds will be north 6 to 8 miles per hour. Across the area should see most of the same weather pattern tomorrow, as we will see temperatures in the 30s down in Arlington and in the mid-20s for the rest of the viewing area. And for the 7-day forecast, this is the surface analysis. That low pressure system will continue to push onto the coast, and we will have high pressure settle in and bring us cold nightly temperatures for most of the days on the upcoming week. For the 7-day forecast, we will see low temperatures, potentially below 0 degrees on Saturday, but we will finally get a break from the precipitation as the week goes on. Temperatures should begin to raise on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Now, this winter storm system will prove to be a disaster for transportation in Ohio, and travel will be nearly impossible tomorrow morning. My team weatherman Henry Groff will tell us more about the travel impacts from Winter Storm Landon.
Thank you, Cameron. A massive winter storm is pummeling the country today, crippling travel by road, air, and railway. With at least 5,800 flights already canceled, Daryl Forges is at the Detroit airport tracking the interruptions.
A train crushing a car stuck on snowy tracks. The driver escaping without injuries, according to police. A truck sliding off the road and flipping into a creek. Another jackknife on the side of the road. These are the scenes on roadways across a 2,000-mile stretch of the U.S. as a winter storm pummels more than 24 states.
You just got to stay cautious. You know, it's pretty bad, obviously. Just drive slow, take your time.
The dangerous weather grinding travel to a halt.
Looking forward to it. Heading to the airport this afternoon, which who knows if I'll get where I'm trying to go.
As the storm system pushes farther east, forecasters say it will deliver a frigid mix of hazards.
We are dealing with one of the most significant icing events that we've had in the state of Texas in at least several decades.
In Texas, the storm will test the state's power grid, which suffered catastrophic outages last February.
At the expected peak demand, there should be about 10,000 megawatts of extra power capacity.
Governor Greg Abbott says that is enough surplus to power about 2 million homes, though tens of thousands are already without power. In Detroit, Michigan, I'm Daryl Forges.
For Southeast Ohio, if you have to travel this evening, make sure to bring food, water, a blanket, and a flashlight in case you get stranded on the road.
Coming up in sports, Ohio women's basketball is on a 2-game losing streak after losing to Ball State last night. After the break, Ohio men's basketball beat Eastern Michigan earlier today. A recap and reaction is coming up next on Newswatch. And be sure to stay tuned to WOUB. Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
Next time on Unforgivable Blackness. Jack Johnson stands atop the boxing world, but his world is about to come crashing down.
Certain unfair persons decided that they could not get me one way, they would another.
Don't miss the conclusion of Unforgivable Blackness, the rise and fall of Jack Johnson.
Next time on Antiques Roadshow, we've got treasures with priceless memories.
What did people say when they saw you hauling around this big bat?
Well, it did stick out.
Yeah.
It did stick out when I walked around with the show. They said, oh, you think you can hit with that bat? You think you can?
It's very impressive, really. I had no idea. I don't know what to say.
It's Antiques Roadshow, next time from Sands Point Preserve in Sands Point, New York.
Thanks to viewers like you, we've been able to tell America's stories on this PBS station. Help us continue to tell these stories now and for future generations by including this station in your charitable plans.
Supporting this PBS station through a charitable gift annuity is easy. To find out more, call the number on your screen or visit this website. Thank you.
The tournament is just around the corner and the window of opportunity to win the TVC is closing quickly. It's championship week for the girls as the Vinton County Vikings battle Alexander for the top spot in the TVC Ohio. And in the Hawking, we saw 2 state-ranked teams battle it out for first place. Plus, things are getting rowdy beyond the court as we take an inside look at the Meg student section. Catch all the action on Hardwood Heroes Sunday nights at 11 and Monday nights at 6, only on WOUB.
Good evening, I'm Juliana Colant. The earlier start time didn't seem to affect the Ohio men's basketball team today. The Bobcats took care of business against Eastern Michigan, winning 81-68. Ohio had 4 players scoring double figures: Mark Sears, Ben Roderick, Jason Carter, and Ben Vanderplas. The Eagles only trailed by 10 points at the half, but could not come back. Ohio shot 52% from the field and 92% of its free throws. Jeff Bowles talked about if he was concerned about the late schedule change affecting the team.
It's different. You know, we adjusted on the fly yesterday, and you know, it's something that you know, as coaches, as players, you like routines, you like structure, and move it on the fly, and you know, change your shoot around time, and you know, early tip, and you know, maybe not near the crowd, but the atmosphere was really good. so you worry about that just, with all these games jammed together as well.
Ohio will stay at the Convo for their next game against Western Michigan on Saturday. Ohio women's basketball lost to Ball State last night at the Convo. The Bobcats fell to the Cardinals 84-74. On the bright side, Cece Hooks scored a season high of 33 points and had her 8th double-double of the season. But it was not enough for the Bobcats. Ball State's strong offense was supported by freshman Allie Becky, and she had 7 of Ball State's 15 three-pointers. Head coach Bob Bolden says the Cardinals' offense can be difficult to defend.
Ball State did a really nice job of moving without the ball. They did a really nice job of reading defense. They've traditionally been a very patterned team, and they've gotten away from that. I think not having that pattern and that freedom of movement, I think they did a really nice job of reading screens and moving the basketball. And then on top of that, when they got the shots, they made them.
Ohio women's basketball travels to Northern Illinois to play the 8th-ranked Huskies Saturday. The Bobcats took a dip in MAC standings after yesterday's loss. Ohio is ranked 6th in the MAC. Prior to Saturday's loss, they were ranked 2nd. The Bobcats share a record of 5-4 with Bowling Green. Toledo reigns, ranking 1st with an almost undefeated record of 10-1. Buffalo sits in 2nd at 7-3. The Bobcats beat both the Rockets and the Bulls just last week. Ohio hockey's 2-game weekend series is canceled due to bad weather conditions. The Bobcats were set to play first-place Lindenwood at Bird Arena tomorrow and Saturday. The games will not be rescheduled. Fans don't have to wait long to see the Bobcats. They are back in action next weekend, hosting Liberty. The Cleveland Cavaliers look to get back in the win column tomorrow after stumbling against Houston. The Cavs fell on the road yesterday with the final score 115-104. The Rockets broke their 11 home game losing streak. Christian Wood and Jalen Green racked up 21 points each for Houston. Evan Mobley led Cleveland in scoring with 29 points. Overall, Cleveland ranks 5th in the Eastern Conference with a record of 31-21, following close behind the Milwaukee Bucks. The Cavs stay on the road to face Charlotte tomorrow, with tip-off set for 7 p.m. I'm Juliana Colant, and that's it for sports. Back to you, Sarah.
This is Benny, an 8-year-old rescue Labrador with a special talent for ice skating. On Wednesday, he took his custom skates out for a twirl in New York to raise money for the Animal Vision Foundation. Benny has performed at skating events all over the U.S., raising money for charity and helping kids with autism. He was rescued on his last day at a kill shelter in Utah. His owner says he loves to run out on the ice and chase after her, and now he does it whenever he wants, for a good cause. Benny has also won the American Kennel Club Exemplary Companion Award for his ability to put smiles on people's faces.
Hi everybody, I am out here on College Green and it is still very cold. Let's have a look at the weather tomorrow. The high for tomorrow is 24 degrees as the winter storm will persist. This winter storm is expected to turn to sleet tonight and then back into freezing rain briefly tomorrow morning, where around noon it will finally turn into snow as we will see the last of Winter Storm Landon. Winds tomorrow will be north from 6 to 8 miles per hour and will see sunrise bright and early at 7:32 in the morning. Across the region, we'll see high temperatures mainly around the same areas, with it being in the 30s in Arlington and a little colder in Columbus. And for a 7-day outlook, we will begin to see cold temperatures as an Arctic high pressure will settle in. That's all I have for my full weather forecast. Stay safe this weekend.
And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Sarah Donaldson.
And for Cam Kuzno, Henry Groff, and Juliana Colant, I'm Nick Vieland. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night.
Support comes from the Athens County Convention and Visitors Bureau. More information at AthensOhio.com. Peace, love, Athens. Support comes from Ohio University's Center for Campus and Community Engagement, fostering mutually beneficial partnerships between faculty, staff, and students